Yeah.
Let's go crazy!
Ladies and gentlemen,
What up, everybody? It is your boy Sinfanta and
Gnarly Mauve, the brave wolf, the true American hero, Chacho.
gentlemen, Chacho.
Shout out to everybody who exists who's ever lived and ever not lived and ever will live at some point in the future. You're watching greatness right now. You're watching greatness.
Yeah, how you doing, Marv? How was your week?
I'm feeling Mondo righteous, my brother. I'm feeling very Mondo righteous. How about you?
I'm feeling very sinful. That's about as far as I've gone today.
Oh, sinning.
So we got a lot of news to talk about. But before we do that, make sure you hit that like. Make sure you hit that subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and most importantly, we're on Twitch, twitch.tv/Sinfanta and
Twitch.tv/Bravery Arcade.
Do it! Just do it!
Yeah, look at the muscle. Yo, Sin, you're strong as hell, bro.
oh, why? Thank you.
You're a very strong guy.
A lot stronger than I let on.
Okay, so bombs were dropped this week by Nintendo, and hearts were broken.
Do tell.
What was it? Monday, Tuesday? No, I think it was Monday, because I think it happened the day after we did our podcast last week. Because I just thought, like, wow, I wish this dropped the day before. I wish this had dropped the day before. For the entirety of us ever doing this podcast, we've spoken about the Switch Pro at least every episode. At least every single episode. Every week there's a new rumor about the Switch Pro. 4K, new stuff, blah, 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 yada, 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 new tech, much more advanced. We finally got an announcement of an upgraded Switch model this week with a trailer.
That's right.
And apparently, the Switch Pro was a lie.
But the rumors weren't a lie.
Well, the rumors of it being 4K were definitely a lie.
No, there was more rumors about it being OLED.
That's the only part that the rumors got wrong. The 4K part, which bugs me out, because how did they guess everything else right, but the 4K part they got wrong? Like, they literally guessed everything else.
I think they were just sipping a little too much on the modern technology juice, because legitimately Nintendo has always been about profits. And my concern was with the rumor was, I don't think it should be 4K, but I think they should definitely have a graphical upgrade, and they've missed the train. So,
and they didn't do anything graphically upgraded with the Switch OLED. What we did get with it is that we got a bigger screen. It's going from 6.3 to 7 inches. We got a built-in Ethernet or LAN port in the dock. We got a new kickstand, because the original stand was pretty limber, like it was easy to tip it over or break it. And what else? I think that was it. We got double the hard drive space internally. It goes from 32, now it's 64. And we got a price raise of $50, and it's gonna be, instead of being $299, it is $349 US.
I don't understand why.
This is the most bizarre thing ever, because you know what, with all the rumors coming out, like, how could you not have believed some of it? Because it was coming from every direction. Even the what was that woman's name who always drops Nintendo things and always gets it right?
I don't remember her name.
But you know what I'm talking about, right? It's always on Twitter. She's always saying Nintendo rumors and usually gets it right. So, like, even Bloomberg, like, this is an official, like, source. Like, these even don't report on just, like, if me and Sin go whisper in somebody's ear, they're not gonna go report in the magazine. Like, they come from official sources. I don't even know what to say about this. Like this has been like I actually had to replay the trailer like 3 times because I really wanted to see if it said 4K anywhere
Mhm.
or new graphics or new process, new internals at some point.
Something.
But no, nothing. And I'm like, wait, this is only a screen upgrade pretty much. Like the other things aren't
Mhm.
really like system sellers. You're not gonna buy a new Switch just because of the kickstand and the well, maybe you might buy it for a little bit bigger of a screen. But yo, this is heartbreaking. Like, and it's not even like this is Nintendo's fault because Nintendo did not themselves spread any of these rumors. It is our faults for even like um paying mind to the rumors. This has been one of the most heartbreaking rumor trains ever because it was chugging along pretty strongly.
Well, I mean, the thing is that the rumors are not grounded on fiction. It's more like the trend. They literally had an opportunity in a window, right, within the last year and this year and next year to release an upgrade, and I believe most people would have been like, yes, I'll buy it. We don't care if it's the same console, as long as it just has better, graphical upgrades. I truly believe that. And then now it's just they released a remodel, and as much as I'd hate to say it, that kind of shuts the window down for a while. So like for like a year or two, they can't really release a new console because most people are gonna look
That's
to the side the second that happens. Kind of like what happened with the 3DS XL.
that is what is the most damaging part of this news of this announcement. I even had it as number three. But bro, like this means this is all we're gonna get for a while. Do you think the pandemic had an effect on this because of the chip shortage? Because
Yeah, mhm.
yeah, if at this point everyone is saying this is gonna happen, and like really reputable sources are saying this is gonna happen, there's got to be some truth to it. But we do know we're in a post, or not even post. We're still like a little bit in the pandemic over here, and we know that manufacturing has become difficult for everything. And there is a chip shortage for people that build PCs. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So damn, like this is heartbreaking. I don't
We've
even know.
we've talked about it before. They had a chip shortage, and not only that, but they've also had to compete with other companies because COVID has limited acquirability of materials and resources, and so other companies that need to make their cell phones and their consoles, they buy in as well, and so I think that has something to do with it. I think if we think about it from a business perspective, fine, maybe the window is still there, but for now that space is shut down
So
because all
you,
they have to do is remodel and release by demand, and they'll still make a profit. So on their end, there's no loss, but on our end, there's full disappointment.
yeah, yeah. So you think that at some point there was plans for a 4K Switch this year? You think the pandemic just knocked it out?
An upgrade.
So not necessarily 4K, but at least a graphical upgrade somehow.
I feel like the PS5 and the Xbox, the new consoles, the only reason they have not shut down a huge, healthy fan base of Nintendo is not only because Nintendo fans are freaking diehard, is also because the availability of PS5 and new Xbox is limited. And well, the new Xbox not so much. And nobody's really discussing the new generation like that. It's not outpacing the Switch in the gaming minds of the generation that follows gaming right now. But at some point, we are gonna turn our necks and start seeing more people playing PS5 games and playing X and Y and Z insert game here, and then we're gonna look back on the Switch and start going through the same thing we went with the Wii. Like, hello, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think the next gen consoles are not gonna pick up momentum until next year. Because of the same situation. The pandemic slowed down every industry. So development of like bigger games, like I'm sure we would have gotten a God of War trailer by now for the PS5 had it not been for the pandemic slowing down development of it. I'm
Yeah.
100% sure that would have happened around E3 around last month. Um, but do I think Nintendo has to hurry with a new console because Switch users are going to be switching over to PS5 and Xbox maybe? I don't really think so. I think Switch users are Switch users and they're not really. I think most people that like the Switch will have a second console no matter what, whether it be a PC, Xbox, or PlayStation. I think Nintendo's always been in a lane of their own and never really had to worry about what other consoles are doing. And this announcement of the Switch OLED thing is more proving that fact even more. You can say because
Yeah.
if they were nervous about next gen consoles, then this is not the announcement they would have wanted to make.
No, absolutely
This
not.
is definitely not the announcement they would have wanted to make. Um, but I think this is just heartbreaking because uh it's been 5 years, right? 2017 to now. Is that 5 years or four? Either way, ballpark by October, it would have been somewhere near 5 years if it's not already. I think it would have been. It's time for a new upgrade to the Switch already. And this screen
I
thing
mean,
is not it, man.
all avenues point towards an upgrade of some sort. Unfortunately, they made a different decision. I think the pandemic definitely affected them. Justin said, "Is garbage. Whatever it was is not worth it to me." Ali says, "350, not worth." I agree.
Yeah.
That's another thing that we haven't talked. Like, but
Would you buy
we'll
it?
discuss that.
Would you buy it, Sin?
Would I buy it?
Yeah. Would you buy the Switch OLED model in October? If your Switch still works, the Switch you have now, if the Switch still does everything that it does right now, would you buy a new model?
No, it's not worth it. um, Another thing that nobody's pointing out is why the increase. Because of the increase of screen,
You
that's
know,
not enough.
it's probably the hard drive jump that's raising the price more. Not that 64 gigs is expensive. I want to say 64 gigs of a flash drive US would probably cost you like less than $20 nowadays, right? If you buy like
Mm.
an SD card or something. But I don't know, man. That's the only thing I
I
could think of why to raise the price because if I'm not mistaken, the PlayStation Vita had an OLED screen and that was 10 years ago and or it started with a regular screen and it upgraded to OLED but didn't raise the price. They just started randomly using OLED screens on the PlayStation Vita without upping the price. Someone can correct me in the chat if I'm wrong. I don't feel like looking it up, but I don't think the OLED would be enough to raise the price. I think it's definitely the hard drive jump or jump in memory.
I don't necessarily agree with that statement. By the way, there's outside of the U.S., most people actually like to use portability, um, because of multiple reasons.
Especially
Our
Japan.
culture, yeah, Japan, dude, they love just being able to take their games with them. U.S. is a different story. We're more commercial. We're more at home. Our pace is different. So, and there's other countries that as well do the same thing. But um, would I pay for it? No, I don't. I don't see the increase being why. Why the increase in price? Another thing that we're not talking about is have they fixed the Joy-Con drift?
If
We're
they
just sitting here.
did, I'm sorry. Keep going. Keep going.
No, no. If they fixed it,
If they
have they fixed
did, I don't think they would tell us if they did, because
it? Of
they've
course not.
they've denied that there even exists an issue there with Joy-Con drift. They're like, that's a conspiracy, man. That's like fake news. But if they did fix it, I don't think they would tell us. But I do like the color scheme, man. Damn, that's the thing that sucks. I like the white dock and I like the white Joy-Cons. And I like
Yeah.
the Ethernet port already built into it. But at the same time, I already paid for Ethernet adapter for my Switch too. So it's like, what am I gonna do with that once if I buy a Switch OLED? I wouldn't buy a Switch OLED just because it seems to be catered more towards the handheld side of things. The bigger screen on the console, you're only gonna notice it if you're playing handheld, right? And then the
No.
the the brighter screen, yeah, you only could see 7 inches. You're not. It makes no difference if you're playing on a TV. And then the OLED, same thing. You're not gonna see that every day we're playing. I'm primarily a docked Switch user. For me, I would have even been happy if they announced a home only Switch, like a console only Switch. I would
Mm.
probably still be happy because I barely ever play handheld. Um, I can't even remember the last time I played my Switch handheld ever.
I do. I have a healthy balance. Um, and the statistics show that most people do, in fact, uh, use both.
Hmm.
That being said, I think if they went with what they did in the with the Switch Lite, but in the opposite direction, it would do more damage than what the Lite did. Like the Lite, they reduced the price. With with a with the Pro, which we're going to discuss in a second, I think they would have to increase, and they would also have to um, sell you on the idea that portability is no longer going to be a concept. So what are they going to sell
No,
you?
I don't think they have to do that. Not if they don't get rid of, because Nintendo usually has a three pillars a program. So if they say, hey, the Switch Mini or Switch Lite is what it's called, right? This is for the kids. This is for the kids. They can't play it on a TV. This is for them. Joy Cons don't come off, so they can't lose them. They can't break them. Then you have the Switch model, the OG vanilla Switch. This is for somebody that's hybrid. This is for somebody that is on the go a lot, but he's also home a lot, so he plays both ways. Then you have the Switch Home or Switch TV or whatever you want to call it. This is for that old fuck like Marv who doesn't leave his house ever and doesn't disconnect his Switch from the dock. Like this is for him. I think you can build different models built for different people. Like I don't think all the Switches need to be hybrid, because the Switch Mini already proves that's not necessarily the case.
Yeah, but that wouldn't separate Nintendo from the other consoles. Like, what would be unique about them? The
But
controllers?
but that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that Nintendo doesn't have to worry about the other consoles anymore, because most people that have other consoles also have a Switch. All my friends that have PS5 have a Switch. All my Switch
That
friends have
yeah,
a
but that wouldn't
PC.
last in the long run.
But it doesn't have to be their only option, is what I'm saying. Like
Yeah, that's true.
Still can doesn't have to mass produce the Switch Home version. Their main thing could be the hybrid Switch, but the Switch Home is
That's
just for like the older crowd that's not on the move
that
like that.
that's a good point Endo makes. The biggest issue I have is a Smash player and my Switch being primarily used for. I use the GameCube controller a lot, and I'm glad we will get a hard wire, but to take away the ports for a GameCube controller is not the right move. Yeah. I don't remember, right? The new
The OLED
OLED one
definitely
fits well?
has the OLED on 100% still has the USBs in the front. It has two USBs. It
Oh
removed
no,
the
no. So that
USB.
means it doesn't have the extra one.
It doesn't have the extra one that's where you would have that when you drop the bay or the little hatch that it has, there's a USB in there, but it doesn't have that anymore because they replaced it with the Ethernet port. So no,
Hmm.
you still could use the GameCube adapter with the Switch OLED. That's not a loss in any way whatsoever, right there.
Did they
Um,
stop reproducing the GameCube controllers real quick? I don't remember. I think they did.
um, I wouldn't be surprised if they stop production, but there's still a bunch out there.
Anyways,
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. But
all
back
right. So
to the yeah, I think Nintendo should have a three pillar strategy like how they had with the DS
yeah,
they had a DS, they had the DS XL, and they had the DS Mini or the 2DS. I mean, they had one that was really for the kids, for the little young ones, one for just like the all around gamer. He's gonna have the base model, and then like the XL, which was like it was huge. I don't know any reason you would have a humongous DS like that, but people
I
had
did.
it.
I bought it.
A lot of people had it. So that's what I'm saying. I think you could have three different Switch models that cater to three different crowds, because I don't have any use for the handheld functions of the Switch, at least not right now.
So if that's the case, we're moving on to the next topic, which leads to when is the real Switch Pro gonna come out? Uh,
Do you want to talk about the screen burn issues though before we jump forward?
oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, let me pull that up real quick. So this is something that I noticed people were discussing quite a lot, and it's just immediately blown up. Um, Apparently, OLED screens have an issue with burn-in happening on phones, such as like Google Pixel 2.0 and whatnot. And Nintendo isn't really concerned about them. They gave we'll link the article. They gave CNET statement. In the statement, they said, "quote we designed the OLED screen to aim for longevity as much as possible, but OLED displays can experience image retention if subjected to a static visuals for over a long period of time. However, users can take preventive measures to preserve the screen by utilizing features including in the Nintendo Switch systems by default, such as auto brightness function to prevent the screen from getting too bright, and the auto sleep function to go into auto sleep mode after short periods of time." Unquote. So basically, what they're saying is, it is up to us uh, to take care of the burn-in issue.
Yeah, yeah, which I guess is the case with OLED TVs too, because I have an OLED TV and like they ask you when you first set it up if you want to set up these functions to reduce screen burn, because screen burn happens when you leave the console on a static image for too long. Like let's say you leave the Switch home screen on too long, and nothing's moving, nothing is happening on the screen. There's no animation, nothing's moving. That image will stay burned on the screen because of just the brightness and I guess, or what, I'm not sure exactly how it happens, but that's why it happens, because it's just on a static image for too long. So setting up your TV or your Switch to turn off if it's just static, if it's nothing happening for too long, or reducing the brightness helps it too. But then if you reduce the brightness, then you're kind of killing the whole point of buying a freaking OLED screen, because the OLED screen, half of the selling point is how bright and beautiful it could look. So
Yeah, it's not. You're not gonna be reducing anything that is gonna take away its main function.
yeah, what I'm saying is kind of weird, but I mean, I that's the downside with OLED screens. But every type of screen has some kind of, even the regular Switch screen has a screen burn reduction option in the menu. So I mean, it could happen with anything, but I don't think this is something
Yeah,
people generally have to be concerned about. To be honest with you, not really a big issue for me. Like we'll see what happens when it releases.
I
But
think most people should leave their burn-in. I mean their reduction brightness and auto turn off on, because
I'm
we tend to game for long periods of time.
yeah, and I'm sure that it's gonna be a default setting. Like as soon as you first buy it, I'm sure it's automatically gonna be on reduced screen reduction on, like as soon as you get it. But moving forward, so let's talk about, when is the Switch Pro actually gonna come then? If it's not now, when are we gonna get an upgrade to the freaking Switch?
Bruh, bruh. Hold on, I gotta play the bruh, the bruh. All right, listen, look here, Junior. I feel like now Nintendo has closed down the window for such a long, prolonged period of time. Um, I would say about a year or two. They can't release. Let's say we say they just release a new Switch with a graphical upgrade, like you said, with no portability access. It will still be about a year or two. I would give it 2 years if I'm being more concrete, because that will be a new selling point that they don't want too close to the model that they're releasing now. So for those that were like having huge hopes with these rumors, immediate shutdown as of right now.
Yeah, I just looked up and I googled, when does Nintendo's handhelds usually get updated. So the numbers aren't too crazy on the handhelds, but we are in a interesting situation because this is a hybrid console. But if you look at Game Boy to Game Boy Color, it was a long. I mean, not even Game Boy Color, Game Boy Pocket. It was a long time before they upgraded the original Game Boy. It was from 1989 to 1996. So you got about 7 years before they upgraded the original Game Boy. And of course, the Game Boy sold well for so long that they probably didn't find it necessary until probably Pokemon Red and Blue came out that
20
rejuvenated.
plus years, Jesus.
Then you have the Game Boy Color that came out in 98. So from the Game Boy Pocket to the Game Boy Color, It was a 2 year wait between that upgrade. Um, and then between Game Boy Color to Game Boy Advance, you have 2001. You have 1998 to 2001 to wait for the Game Boy Advance, and the Game Boy Advance was an enormous upgrade to the Game Boy. It jumped from being 8-bit to 16-bit. I will almost say it probably was like 32-bit, really, because we had a lot of 3D games on the Game Boy Advance. But then we have a quick jump because from the Game Boy Advance to the Game Boy Advance SP was only 1 year for that upgrade to come.
Hmm.
2001 to 2002. So that's
That was because of the complaints.
yeah, it was because the screen was too dark. They had to get that brightness back in there, right? But then between the Game Boy Advance SP and the Micro, you have a 3 year wait, a 3 year gap. If you remember, the Micro actually came out after the DS. It came out after the DS because of how you call it. It was still trying to prolong the life of the Game Boy brand,
Yep.
even though it was kind of pointless.
They didn't want to let go of my Game Boy.
Yeah. So now if we look at the DS release schedules or release dates, we have 2004 for the original DS. The DS Lite was 2006, so another 2 year gap between upgrades there. Then DSi was 2008, which is another 2 year wait right there. Then we have the DSi XL 2009, so 1 year jump right there. Lastly, with the 3DS, 2011 was the original 3DS. The 3DS XL was 2012, so 1 year. But remember, those aren't graphical leaps. Those are just revisions to the console, like new versions
Yeah.
of. Then you have the 2DS came out in 2013. The new 3DS, which is 2014. So if we look at the original 3DS to the new 3DS had a little bit of more, horsepower under the hood. So
Yeah. Absolutely.
we have a 3 year wait right there, and that's pretty much the end of the line for as far as handhelds go. So just using the law of averages over here, we're probably not gonna get another upgrade to the Switch for another 2 years if we're going by this list here. Just going by the law of averages. Unless it's like what I said, it's gonna be like a home version or something like that. That looks an in between stopgap between a new version and now. So that's the
I'd
sad.
say I'd say the new console would be they don't even have to stray away from what they have now. Uh, it works. The controllers are, even though we complain about the drift, the controllers are a good option for wanting to do casual and more hardcore things. The problem comes when the companies don't realize that we are the investors in the payments for for this technology that doesn't get used, and then developers don't use the technology, such as HD Rumble, the motion sensor, and it's just sitting there. And games have come out and are not being used, and I'm just like, well, why are we paying X amount of extra dollars for this technology to not be used? As I said before, HD Rumble feels amazing. The only game that I feel like used it to its full potential so far was One to Switch, with whatever I've discussed, and within the 2 year time skip, 2 year time skip, we I believe we either are gonna get what Marv said, which is going to be another revision. Maybe they remove the
The
portability
handheld, yeah, portability.
and increase some of the graphical power. Even going as far as having a graphical dock. Maybe that'll be
That's the other option. That's what I forgot to say earlier. Say it again.
graphical dock, which will have a graphical upgrade
The
provided.
dock itself will have tech in it that will boost the power of the Switch. That is also a big possibility and something that wouldn't be so expensive that people could buy if you wanted a more powerful Switch.
I feel like that could be the new definition for the new console going forth, where they can use a dock to separate themselves even further from the competition and just going, well, we transitioned with docks and allowed people that paid good money to continue moving forward as time went on. And that would be fantastic. Of course, at some point they would have a cutoff point where
Uh
they
huh.
have a new console, maybe keep the dock idea around, but
I think the
as far as I'm.
hybrid thing should be the future for Nintendo always.
Mhm.
What were you saying though?
No, I feel like the new concept that Nintendo should keep permanently because they own the handheld market is hybrid. That would be the concept they own at this point. The cell phones are not gonna take over gaming, hardcore gaming anytime soon. It's not gonna happen. None of us like playing with a small screen. Even I that use it as a hybrid and use it portably, I like the fact that I can at least to some degree have a bigger screen in my hands. Phone, not gonna do it.
Or even just using touchscreen buttons. Like using a button on a touchscreen sucks, man. Like I can't play long games on a touchscreen.
Oh, I'll show you.
I
I'll
need
show
some
you
buttons,
something
bro.
that
I
one
know
of
you.
the
I know
viewers
you could
gave me.
buy. I know you could buy separate things for it, but
Yeah, one
I
of the
don't.
viewers gave me this.
Yeah,
That you
but
could put this.
I don't want to buy an extra thing for my phone, like, because then I got to carry that around and my phone. Like, that's why the Joy Cons are so convenient. I know you're a big advocate for the Joy Cons and HD Rumble. I'm not so much because I haven't played 1-2 Switch. I don't play handheld that often, and I have a Pro controller, so I don't see any reason I could do without the Joy Cons. But I know that there was a goal for them. There was an idea. Like you look at the that workout game. What is it called? I don't even know what it's called, but it was in the OLED trailer. You know, with the lady with the
Ring Fit
Ring
Adventures.
Fit
What is it?
Adventure. Like even stuff like that. Like Nintendo is the king of those kind of things. So I think the Joy-Con should definitely stick around. You know, be upgraded or whatnot. Let's fix that Joy-Con drift. Even though me personally, I could do without them. But if they make a dock that upgrades the Switch, it's not so much out of the realm of possibility because Nintendo has done things like that in the past. If you think about Star Fox on the SNES, it had a chip in it
Mhm.
specifically for that game to upgrade the graphics of the Super Nintendo. The Super Nintendo could not on its own produce 3D generated graphics. Because of that extra chip they put inside of that cartridge, it gave a boost to the Super Nintendo. I think even Super Mario RPG had it. I think Stunt Racer FX is the game that had it too. Um, so it's not so much out of the realm of possibility that Nintendo would do something like that. Even with the
They
Nintendo,
also
I'm sorry,
Nintendo 64 with
yeah,
Donkey Kong 64.
with Donkey 64, with the RAM expansion, Majora's Mask had it too. With the what was it called? The Jump? No, what was it called? Expansion
No.
pack. The
Mhm.
expansion pack. Like it's not something Nintendo hasn't done before where they just say, "Hey, buy this extra thing. It's going to make your games play better." It's a
Yeah, it'll come together with the game.
yeah, you sell it with a game that needs it. If you don't have this, you can't play the game or you could play the game but it's going to look worse. I like that
A
idea.
dock that makes it stronger. Yeah, dock that makes it stronger. Yeah.
I like that idea. It gives you more of a reason to like your dock. Right now, your dock is just kind of this piece of plastic that kind of just houses your console or whatever, and it kind of just transfers the data to your TV directly without any type of extra boost of power. Maybe the AC adapter gives it more power or something like that too. 'Cause that's a very thick cable for plugging it in. But
Right.
graphically, it does nothing for the system. So yeah, I like that idea a lot more than even like having just a home version of the Switch. Give us a dock that makes the system more powerful. That way, even if you have the Switch OLED model, you could still upgrade your dock and still get a better looking resolution when you're playing at home. The downside would be the handheld users would kind of like be left out of that equation there. But do you feel like we need a something to make handheld gameplay look better?
I feel like handheld eventually is gonna have a crisis where uh they're gonna separate what the graphical terminology will be from TV to handheld. If they do that, if they go down the path of a dock making the console stronger, but at the same time, if you think about it, which is I'm thinking about it now as I'm talking, maybe not because the dock will be what supplies playing a specific game, and then when you're on dock, you can play whatever game it is that you want to play handheld, and then the limitations. But then that creates a whole branding dilemma. So I
That's the
don't
only
know.
tough part. That's the only tough part because if you make a stronger dock, then you're saying to yourself, the best way to play this game is at home. When you're playing on the road, it's not gonna play as well. That's the only
Maybe you won't
downside of
play at
that.
all.
Yeah, some people might be like, "Well, I'm not taking my Switch outside because it's gonna play worse." Yeah, that's the only downside of that one. But it's not a bad idea though. I do like the idea. I do like the idea
Mo-
though.
Whatever you while you guys are listening to us, whatever you think, let us know in the comment section and let us know on our live streams as well.
Yeah,
Come through.
yeah, you Mark say something. But but yeah, listen, I want to stay hopeful and I want to say that even if it's 2 years from now that we get a new Switch, then it could be a bigger jump than we were expecting this year. Hopefully in 2 years, the upside is that they have more time to develop something stronger. Because we know the PS5 and the Xbox are not gonna get stronger in 2 years. So it isn't like we gotta worry about other consoles blowing us out of the water,
Yeah,
even
I don't
even though they
think
already are.
anything. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen anytime soon.
I mean, PC is still miles and leaps and bounds ahead of anything, but I mean, as far as like predominantly consoles, PS5 is not going to get any stronger in 2 years. So who knows? Maybe the next leap in graphics will be the Switch that can replicate an experience on the PS5 and the Xbox, and maybe that's why they're holding off.
Again, that's why the diehard believers of the rumors. I'm sorry. I hope my condolences to your.
Dude, there was so many YouTubers. There were so many YouTubers that were saying this is it.
Oh
When
my god, guys!
this
I
is
know
it.
I have 100% confirmation.
Yeah, like there's a Switch Pro coming. The announcement is imminent. It's gonna change the world, and everybody's gonna get this new Switch, and it's gonna look like PS5 and Xbox, and it's gonna be able to play hentai and all that stuff. But no, we need to kind of stay in the realm of what Nintendo has done in the past, and we need to be
Mm,
realistic with ourselves. Like Nintendo's never gonna produce a console that's gonna look like the other consoles on the market. They probably don't
yeah.
care about that. That's not their mo ever. They don't want to be a Me Too console. Like, hey, we got ray tracing. Nintendo's like, oh yeah, me too, me too. That's what Xbox does. Xbox is even Sony sometimes too. When Nintendo was like, we got motion controls, Sony was like, me too. We got yeah, look at my motion controls. Nah, Nintendo is definitely not a Me Too company. That is definitely a Sony and a Microsoft thing with Kinect and PlayStation Move. Even with VR, Sony was like, "Oh, I got VR too, bro. Don't go play whatever that thing was called for Windows. We got it on console." Uh,
Uh, oh man, I forget what the VR thing is, but I don't know what you're talking about.
yeah, it was like owned by Facebook, I think now. Oculus Rift was the original or the big VR thing like 2 years ago, and then Sony came out with PlayStation VR. I don't even know. Did Xbox even make a VR thing?
Not aware.
I don't think so. That's weird. Usually Microsoft's very Me Too ish at the same time too. But
I feel like VR at some point will hit a stride and will be the future, but for now it's just so varied. We'll talk about that sometime soon.
I mean, a lot of people said that about 3D movies. Like I remember when 3D movies were big, like when Avatar came out like 10 years ago, and everyone was saying, "Yo, I think 3D movies is the future of movies. Like everything's gonna be 3D soon. You're gonna be able to look around and see everyone's like back of everyone's heads or whatever." And nah, like I think they go through phases where they're popular and then it phases out and then it comes back in 10 years, it gets popular, then it phases out again. I think
Well,
it's
what
like
happened with that
cycles.
was the technology was expensive to develop for
I don't
because we just didn't invest.
As far as 3D movies you saying?
Hmm.
I think with 3D movies, I think people just get bored of it. I think that the initial impact of watching a movie in 3D is amazing. Like watching Avatar in 3D, I don't even like that movie. Watching it in 3D was pretty cool. But I think once
Hmm.
once it became like the 10th movie and I gotta wear glasses every time I watch this movie in the theater, I'm like, I don't want to wear these freaking glasses anymore. Like I just want to watch this freaking movie. So
Which was the main reason why I bought the 3DS XL because it tracks your eye movement so that you don't got to worry about 3D effect going away when you move side to side. So you don't gotta do
But
anything.
even for me, that's like I don't think 3D is something that looks amazing after you've seen it 100 times. I think 3D looks amazing the first 20 times you look at it. Then once your eye
Mm,
gets used to seeing it, you don't care anymore if it's 3D or not. Like it's not
mm.
amazing anymore. And I think VR kind of falls into that train too. Like it's cool. Like put this on the first 20 times you're doing it, you're like, wow, this is amazing. I could watch porn in 3D. Holy crap. But then like after that it just becomes a chore. Like I gotta
I
freaking
gotta put this headset
gotta put
on.
this thing on over here. I gotta look at it. I gotta watch Rocky in 3D over here. What is this? I just want to watch the freaking movie.
I just want to watch the good movie, man.
I'm not saying that Sin's wrong and saying that virtual reality is the future of gaming. It probably is, but I don't see it myself. I don't think it's amazing after the first couple times you do it. I
We're not talking about the virtual console, by the way.
No, no, no,
We're
no. The virtual console is amazing though. I wish they would bring that back. Holy
no
crap. Bring that back.
uh,
I'll pay $350 for a virtual console instead of playing for a freaking OLED screen. What are we doing? Rocky 3. Come on. Yo, shout out to Lich King. What's up, my brother? You know what I'm saying? I'd rather pay for the
oh
virtual console. Give me all the virtual console games that were on the Wii, and I'm happy man. I'm a very
uh,
happy boy.
oh no! I just thought about the Virtual Boy. Now that I'm thinking back, oh Lord,
That was
why?
another case where like maybe the first time you look through it, it's okay, but after 20 times, you're like, oh, this shit look.
It legitimately caused eye problems. Hello.
No, I'm not doing this. Eye problems and neck problems. You gotta stick your head in there, like looking through like a peephole.
You literally had two legs that would come out, and you'd have to like do this
Yeah,
instead of.
yeah. Like yo, but you know what is cool about the Virtual Boy? I think the controller was ahead of his time, but like many people have never even seen a Virtual Boy controller, but you could actually play it left-handed or right-handed. It has the same buttons on both sides, and it kind of looked like uh it looked like a what do I want to say, a prototype for like a GameCube controller or like a prototype N64 controller, but without the trident. You know what I mean?
That's right. But in any case, I feel like in conclusion, I think the new console for Nintendo will be 2 years down the line. So
That's a safe bet. Yeah, I'd say everyone should prepare themselves for 2 years, and don't listen to any more rumors for at least another year. Don't believe anything you hear for another year.
yeah, absolutely not. Don't let it get to you. Don't let it, just
Yo, people
no.
built their YouTube channels around this rumor. I know a couple like YouTubers that like every day was like another rumor about the Switch Pro. So it's like it sucks. Like now what? Now what you gonna talk about?
Now what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do now, Scooter? Right?
So the next topic we got. Did you hear about this person that apparently got arrested for selling cheat saves for the Breath of the Wild?
I read about it earlier today. I didn't get too deep into it, but tell me about it.
Me neither. So let's go ahead and jump into this. So apparently, a 27-year-old Chinese man living in Tokyo got arrested on the 8th of July for selling cheat saves for the modified Breath of the Wild format. Um, I don't understand how much. I don't even know how much money they made, but it says the save files came with boosted character abilities and rare items that would normally prove tricky to obtain through standard gameplay, police said. Zelda wasn't the only game the man allegedly sold modified save files for. The man was quoted as admitting to police to have made 10 million yen, around 65,000 pounds, from selling save files via an auction web, charging 3,500 yen a pop, around 23 pound, in just a year and a half from December 2019. That's a lot of freaking money. What? So just modify and sell at an online auction, sure. Anyways, according to the report, the auction listing advertised the modified save files as the strongest software.
The
Oh,
strongest software. What? That's like a freaking movie title. The strongest software coming this summer to a movie near you. What the fuck?
According to BSN, the person's activity potentially violated Japan's unfair competition prevention law. This law deals with cases where secret company information is stolen or disclosed illegally. Apparently, this isn't the first time this happened, and some 23-year-old a while back made 1.1 million yen. Oh, jeez. Selling thousands of modified Pokemon for Pokemon Sword and Shield. Yes, I remember that. So, how do you feel about this, Marfa? About somebody selling,
You
making
know,
money like that?
I don't think this should be illegal. To be honest with you, I don't think it should be illegal, but I do think it's interesting. But I don't know if somebody should go to jail for something like this. Selling like a save file with what is it, hacks or modified stuff, so you have all the strongest Pokemon. I don't know if it should be a crime per se, but I will say that there is something about Breath of the Wild that pisses me off more than anything. You see, with the other games he did it for, I don't really see a point to it because, you know what I'm saying? Grind a little bit and get stronger in the game. It's possible to get what you're probably buying from this guy, right? But with Breath of the Wild, there are certain things that you can only get if you have the amiibo. And because amiibos become rare and hard to find, and you know scalpers buy them up, there's certain pieces of content that you can never, that me and you will probably never see in the game. For instance, the wolf assist character in Breath of the Wild. If you have the Wolf Link amiibo, and you use it in Breath of the Wild, you'll get a wolf helper that follows you around and helps you in fights. And I've never experienced it, and I've always wanted to have a little dog friend in the Zelda game because I think that's freaking awesome. But I'll probably never be able to see it because where am I gonna get that amiibo from? Like you couldn't put it in the actual game, like make it really hard to unlock.
I
Um,
think.
there's a whole bunch of other stuff too. Like there's different costumes. There's the fierce deities costume you can't get in Breath of the Wild unless you have the fierce deity amiibo. All the amiibo stuff in Breath of the Wild, that I would pay this guy for it honestly because it's probably cheaper than buying the amiibo from scalpers for like $1,000 or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the way this works is the individual is using intellectual property that's legally owned by a company, and then they're modifying it and selling it and making a profit off of it. That's I can't feel okay with that. If it was I feel, how do you say it? I feel conflicted because if it was technically stealing from a company that's struggling, then I'd be like, oh no, that needs to be in place. But at the same time, when there's a company and there's a guy that's struggling themselves and they're in the place and they can't make money and that's what they have, like, I feel conflicted. That being said, the laws have to be put in place, and that's how it should be handled.
I think with Pokemon, he shouldn't do it. I think isn't there everything in Pokemon you can get it from playing the game? Just
Yeah,
grinding. Is he adding anything to the game to make you past the limits of what is possible in the game?
I don't remember exactly if it was that way, but I do remember that he made it available so that you can get Pokemon that weren't yet available that were obviously gonna get released. Which
Okay, so no, that's breaking the law. You know, Nintendo. Not even well. The reason why it's illegal is because Nintendo wants to sell you this content down the road and don't want you buying it from this guy because then he gets the money from it. So I understand why they would have sued him for that one.
well, the newer person is also selling the full game, the
Oh,
game
he's selling the
fully.
game too.
Yeah, it's the full game with modified and boosted stats. The Breath of the Wild as well. So
You see, I don't think you need the freaking stat boosting for Breath of the Wild. It doesn't seem like a game where you do get stronger and you get stronger gear and stronger items very later in the game, but I think it's kind of pointless in that aspect. Like what I would pay for is the content that Nintendo has locked behind amiibos. That I would pay for because it'll probably be cheaper than going to eBay and trying to buy $1,000 amiibo that only costed like $20 when it was in stores. Um, I don't know. Like you said, I'm conflicted too. This is really hard to like be mad at the guy, and his hustle, you know. And I think the way you get rid of this type of thing from happening is to make it easier to get this kind of stuff in the actual game by itself. Um, but
I
I guess you can't
remember
really do
once
that.
upon a time it was the trend to make games difficult because it was so limited. The game was so short. Um, and then difficulty became the trend. And now we're at a point where, we like to have the choice always.
Um,
That's the thing.
yeah, yeah. Games were super hard on the SNES, the Nintendo, even probably up to like PS2 era. There was games were still
Mhm.
pretty difficult. It started getting really easy around like Xbox 360 and PS3, where they started holding your hand all the time. But it was also to compete with like Blockbuster because they were scared that you were gonna rent a game in a weekend and beat it in the weekend, and they wouldn't make any money off of you. At least if they make the
Yeah.
second level hard as hell, you'll rent it. You'll get to the second level. The first level will be super fun and easy. Then the second level would be a nightmare because they don't want you to beat it in one weekend from Blockbuster. So
uh,
so back then, level twos or threes, somewhere after like level one, the game would just spike in difficulty like enormously to keep you from beating the game in one weekend. Um, and I can understand why they made the games harder back then. For something like Breath of the Wild, I'm surprised this guy even made money off of this because I don't really see any necessary reason to spend on getting powerful in that game because the fun is kind of being underpowered in that game. The fun of that
yeah.
game is kind of like just experiencing it from a low level. Once you get overpowered, the game kind of gets boring, to be honest.
Welcome back, Nova.
Nova, hey my guy. But I don't know. This is a tricky thing. I don't even know what charges. What would you charge this guy with doing besides selling the
It's,
game? You say selling the actual game, right?
yeah, it's basically content stealing. I forget what it's a specific terminology called for it, but he's just stealing content that's not trademarked for him, and that's where I feel conflicted because if I knew the specifics and I was a judge, I'd look into why, where, how, and what, and then yeah, have the law in place, but then also look into the whys and the hows
The
and then
first, I'm sorry, the first sentence in this article says the save file came with boosted character abilities and rare items. It would normally prove tricky to obtain through standard gameplay.
but you
Sepalides,
could get it.
but you could get it. I mean, it's tough though because if they're not getting specific, if this is something that's RNG to get, then I can understand why someone would spend money on this. But if it's something that's not available anymore through normal means, like amiibo locked things in that game, I would say yeah, this guy's a blessing. Um, I would probably do all this stuff, buy his stuff off of him. But don't take me to jail though, Nintendo. Come on, I'm just trying to unlock Rocky's gloves in Breath of the Wild
wait,
over here.
wait, it's just Rocky's gloves. Don't worry.
Hey,
But
tranquilo. What? Yeah.
I feel like
What are they gonna charge this guy with? I mean, how many years are they gonna give this guy for
I
this?
mean I think they fine him money. That's what's gonna happen. I don't think they probably send him to that would be moronic. Let's just send him to jail because I don't
You
know.
gave away the master sword. They gotta unlock that. What are you doing?
you know.
Oh man.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy stuff what people get in trouble for in gaming when you hear the law applied to it. It's interesting how people manipulate a game like that, and then they find a way to, hey, I can make money off of this over here. Very interesting, especially something like Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild is such an open-ended game with so many different possibilities and things like that. That it doesn't surprise me that someone came up with this concoction of a business plan for
At an
selling
auction.
you rare save files with rare items in it. That's crazy.
Just auction it off, to the highest bidder.
That's crazy. Breath of the Wild is such an amazing game. It has so much stuff to it that you could turn it into an actual business.
You
Like,
know, what I think about just this guy sitting at, I know this is not how it happened, but just sitting at an auction going, yeah, 35 going once, going twice, it's 200 going once,
and it's like the
going twice,
Master
it's
Sword.
300.
It's like the Master Sword is what they're auctioning, right? That's crazy. It's like the Ocarina of Time. Yeah, man, it's a crazy world we live in, buddy. It's a crazy world.
Even that, I would understand if you auctioned off an actual Ocarina of Time that was limited edition. Remember those? Yeah.
That's a real thing. Yeah, that's a real thing over there.
But a
Anyway,
game?
yeah, a save file, not even a game. Not even just a game. A game with a save file with rare items in it. And if I'm not mistaken, there were websites back in the day where you could download a save file with OP weapons for like emulators back in the day. Like if you got the emulator of like a Final Fantasy game, you could go to the website and find a save file with like the most powerful weapons in the game, and you could run through the game on God mode.
For a while there, the internet was a wild, wild west. I remember that.
Yeah, things have changed so much, man. The internet is like so sanctioned and policed.
Yeah, you'd have to go. We're not gonna talk about that. Anyways, so before we talk about the last article, I didn't ask you what games have you been playing lately.
Just Breath of the Wild, actually. I've actually gotten back into it. It's funny that
No
we're
way,
having a
you're
Breath of the Wild
lying.
story. Yeah,
You
yeah.
serious?
No, yeah. I got back into Breath of the Wild because my friend Davidless, shout out to Davidless guys, was streaming it, and I was like, you know what, I want to play Breath of the Wild. Then it was on sale during E3 week. It was on sale because I guess they had the video of Breath of the Wild 2. So people were people that were interested in Breath of the Wild 2 could play Breath of the Wild 1. So they put it on sale. And I brought it. It was like $40. And I'm just like not even like really doing any of the story stuff. I'm like really, just running around doing whatever, going shrine hunting or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I still have a lot of fun with that game. I still love that game. There's so much you can do with it. There's so much open-endedness, and I'm really looking forward to part 2.
I played that. I played that game to a degree that I don't want to discuss. It was just so good. It felt so good that you could do whatever, whenever, however. So good.
A million ways to do any little thing in that game. A million ways.
So other than that, no other games. You've just been stuck on that one.
Yeah, pretty much. You know me, man. I don't get as much time as I wish to play video games, so I gotta be very
and
selective.
you know why that is, guys? Because if you want to get your content done professionally with quality, you could go to Bravery Studios. Bravery, get it done just right.
You're
Bravery up.
So,
Bravery up.
make sure you check out Bravery Studios if you ever want to get quality content, rent out a spot, radio. You're interested in any of that? It's a good place to go.
Pull up.
So games I've been playing. Smash, obviously. I've been playing Dead by Daylight as well a little bit. Monster Hunter is still constant. Left 4 Dead 2, believe it or not. I've been streaming it because my huh?
Yeah, I saw you today playing Left 4 Dead. Yo, what are you playing it on PC?
Yeah, my PC can handle it thanks to one of my viewers that sent me that gave me a laptop that can run it.
Nice, nice.
So I'm streaming and gaming from the same laptop, which is insane how strong this laptop is compared to my PC.
Nice.
And I've been playing Left 4 Dead 2 and Pokemon Snap.
Nice. Oh, the new Pokemon Snap?
The new Pokemon Snap.
What do you think of it?
It's not gonna be like the old game, of course. It's not gonna be your cup of tea if you don't like laid back moments. Like
It's casual. It's very casual, right?
It just like the old one. The old one
Yeah.
was casual, and it was about the pace and being calm with the pace and unlocking things that you normally wouldn't see a Pokemon do, and then making them do things that they normally wouldn't do. And they have new agendas for you to be able to provoke Pokemon. You level up areas, and then Pokemon behave differently, and you capture photos with them. So that's the
Hmm.
new thing.
Well, you could do
There's
that in
days
the
that
old one too. You could do that in the old one. You throw an apple at them and they react differently.
Yeah, in the new one, there's about two or three different things you can do on top of that.
I
Um,
like it that it stayed simple. I don't think that's a game that they should complicate.
yeah, it's not complicated.
Yeah.
It makes the Pokemon do different things. There's days that I don't feel it because obviously I'm a very varied person. Like there's days that the pace I'm just like no, but whenever I want to lay back and relax, that's my cup of tea.
Yeah. That's a nice bus ride game or train ride game. You know.
Just enough immense back into Breath of the Wild, cringe, lol. Nah, that's one of the best games to come out in the past 10 to 15 years, IMO. Yes.
Yeah, just a
Yes.
nut. Breath of the Wild is almost a perfect game. There's humongous flaws in it too, but I think that the things that they got right are leaps and bounds above the things they got wrong. I love that game.
Zambonis.
Zambonis. But I think with part two on the horizon, I think a lot of the complaints of the first game are gonna get addressed, and especially the dungeons. People hated the dungeons in Breath of the Wild one.
And you know why though? It's not the dungeons were great. It's not the dungeons. It's people associate the dungeons with story. And to be honest, yes, the story was way, 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 way too short and way, way, way too spaced out. At some point, even if you focus on the main story, like even if you focus on it, it is too spaced out for you to remember what happened last, and you just get expanded out because the space and the accessibility to the dungeons or whatnot is so branched out. So disassociate dungeons from story and you enjoy them. It's just it was too short. It was only four, and the shrines were what expanded upon it. So I hope the new game has more story and let if you decide to go off, on a beaten path and just explore the world, fine, no problem. But when you decide to explore the story, have it all be connected in a singular line so that you don't have to, you know, disperse and lose your immersion.
It's hard. It's hard to do story in such an open game like that. That's the problem. And if for me, if it's the option of a story versus an open ended game, I'll take the open ended game. I don't really see the benefits of a deep story in a Zelda game if we're gonna lose some of that openness of the game.
I do. I mean, there's a perfect balance that they can achieve. It's just they just need like a little bit more. Just a little bit more story, and it'll be perfection. My problem was they did the opposite with Skyward Sword, where it was like they put too much story and they're just catering way too much into the characters. I'm just like, stop.
Yeah, but look at Skyward Sword's story. It's nothing special. Like there's nothing really spectacular about that story besides.
Besides the main portion,
Actually, no.
about it,
I
right?
would say there's nothing special about the story in Skyward Sword other than the fact that it's there. The fact that it does
Also,
have a story is the only thing special about it.
also, we didn't mention it and bring it us as a topic. You know what? I'm replacing the last topic. So the last topic will be: is the Zelda Breath of the Wild HD Skyward Sword, right? I mean, I'm sorry, Skyward Sword HD worth the price,
If it's worth, how much is it? $60?
right? Yeah, right. Let's find out.
If
Because I still feel like if it ain't $20, it ain't worth it.
if it's $60, it's 100% not worth it. The that is another problem with Nintendo, man. Like, come on, that game is 10 years old, bro.
It's $60.
That's not worth it, man. Like, the bad part is that I'm gonna buy it at $60, even though I think it's too much for it. I like the Zelda series. I like every Zelda game. I'm gonna pay for it. So I'm the issue. If we said no and stopped paying $60 for like 10-year-old games, then things would change. But damn, man, it's tough. I want to play the
It's
game.
not in the past with Twilight Princess and the other one, which I cannot
Wind
remember.
Waker.
I'm blanking out.
Wind
Yeah,
Waker.
I'd pay for it because it is pretty spaced out and they added stuff. This one, it's literally HD and they didn't even graphically upgrade anything. They just said, what? Zoom in. All right, bye. Like $60. Conversion of the controllers is pretty basic. There's nothing added. $60 for just zooming into your proportional screen? All right, sure. And we have the problem where it's like people will continue to purchase it.
That's what I'm saying. Nintendo knows everybody's gonna pay for it, so they were like, "Why are we gonna make the game 40, 30, $20? We know damn well that all these Nintendo hardcore fans are gonna buy the game no matter what we charge." So yeah, that's the issue there. That's the issue there,
Yeah,
man.
I think into the future, we need to speak more with our wallet, like literally, and that's kind of difficult because here's the issue, and Nintendo has this particular issue more than any other company, and they know what they're doing. Don't get me wrong, they know what they're doing. Um, they take their older games and they isolate them so much so that you cannot have access to them unless you do something specific, such as repay for them. Like Virtual Console now shut down. You don't have access to Virtual Console like other consoles where you could still access these games that you downloaded and bought. And then they re-release Nintendo, Super Nintendo games, N64 games, re-release and re-release and re-release, and we're out here still repaying full price for games that we should not be paying for.
Yeah, yeah, that's the business model for nostalgia. That's how they get you to pay for nostalgia for full price. Um, I will say that with this console generation, if we lose all of our games with the next iteration of the Nintendo Switch, I'm not buying any more downloadable games. I'm not, because the whole point of me buying, like, let's say I'm buying a digital version of Breath of the Wild. I want to be able to play that on my next console, and if it has better graphics on that new console, I'm gonna be even more hyped. But if I gotta pay for it again in a deluxe edition, you know what I'm saying? Then it's like I'm ripped off. Like, I already lost all my virtual console games. I bought a lot of virtual console games, bro. On the
Same.
Wii. On the Wii, I was like, yo, this is amazing that they have all these
Yeah, I
games.
committed because I thought the same.
All gone. All gone with the Switch. Even on the Wii U, it was kind of a pain in the ass to go back and go to Wii mode, load up your virtual console, get the Wii mode out. It was a lot of effort to play virtual console games on the
But
Wii
you still had
U.
them.
You still had them, but it was a little bit more work, but it was still there. But then with the Switch, they got rid of all of it. And it's like, at least for the most part, man, you could have made it so that if you purchase these games on the Wii, maybe you have a download code to get it back on the Switch, man, because that's messed up. I'm investing in your games, and you're not even you're not even allowing me to hold on to something that I purchased. Like, it's a digital purchase that has disappeared. It kind of sucks. It really sucks, honestly. So
Right.
yeah, if I don't have my games from my Switch to the Switch 2 or Switch Pro or whatever's coming out next, I'm not buying no more digital games. I'm done.
That's the breaking point for you.
Yeah, like, come on, man. How many times I gotta rebuy these games, bro? I'm not doing that again.
I
Definitely not
hope
doing it.
I hope we never convert fully into digital, even though I know that's the way we seem to be heading. Because I like my physical.
We might not ever go full digital because there's still parts of the world where it's not easy to get internet, and
Right.
so, like, the middle of the country, the middle of the United States, its internet is not that good, in the rural parts of the country. So they need to maintain, making physical copies. But I'm It's gonna suck if we have to keep rebuying the same games over and over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna. They had a Sony State of Play, and they showed off the deluxe edition of Death Stranding, only for PS5. Now, mind you, the PS5 can play PS4 games. You could already play Death Stranding on your PS5, but they're still reselling it to you. They added a little more content to it and whatnot. Honestly, they made it look like a actual video game now. Now they have actual fun stuff to do in the game. You can race around and stuff. But either way, like that could have been just DLC for the base game, but you're selling it as exclusive content for PS5. So that shows you how video game companies think. They're like, why are we gonna let you play the same game for free on the console when we're gonna make you pay for it again?
And we still do it. We still buy it.
And we still buy it. I'm not buying Death Stranding though. I didn't even buy part one. Death Stranding is a freaking ripoff of a game.
Absolutely.
I was giving it for free, but I don't think that's gonna happen.
Also, I know we are getting to the end of the podcast, but Monster Hunter Stories 2 came out, and I would just say,
you got it.
Go check it out. No, I don't have the funds for it. Go check it out. It looks like a lot of fun. It's a Pokemon-esque game. It's taking turns and knowing your monster's weakness and exploration. So go check it out. Have a fun time with that. But I think we got to the end of it. Will you get it?
Monster Hunter Stories? No, I don't really think so. Like I said, I'm very, very picky and selective about the games I play nowadays, and I just never really got attached to the Monster Hunter series. I'm 30 years old. Most of the games I'm gonna play are the games that I probably grew up playing, and Monster Hunter wasn't one of those. It's very hard for me to play something new that doesn't say Resident Evil, Final Fantasy, Legend of Zelda, or something like that on it. It's very, very rare for me to do that. I'm just stuck in the box, man. I don't know.
But guys, if you have anything else to add, let us know in the comment section.
Let us know.
That being said, this is the end of the podcast.
It's time for so long, my boy.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am your boy, Sinfanta. You can find me at twitch.tv/Sinfanta, and all other social medias associated is Sinfanta as well. And
I'm Gnarly Marv. Find me on everything as Bravery Arcade.
thank you so much.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much for watching. Everybody have a wonderful night. I love you guys. Love your goddess. And as always,
mission complete. Peace.